Now that we've created our folder, we're going to go ahead and launch VS Code. And if you do have it down on the taskbar, you can just click on it. If you don't, you might have to do a little search and key in Visual Studio Code. And then you can open it by clicking the app. And then once you see the icon down here, you can right click and pin it to the taskbar. Now, we aren't going to do a whole lot of customizing in here to begin with, although I did customize the theme, which is the color scheme. So over on the left on the toolbar, if you go into extensions, if you like a light theme, you can key in light theme. Okay, and I like that for videotaping. Otherwise, you can key in just the word theme, or you can do dark theme. Okay, and you can see there are a ton of themes. Okay, and then if you click on a theme, it'll kind of show you what it's going to look like, and you can install it, and that is what your screen will look like. If you like what mine looks like, I used a light theme, and this is the one that I used. Okay, so it's kind of personal preference. There is no right or wrong as far as themes go. Once you select your theme, you can go to File and then Open Folder. And we're going to be working out of our CIT 180 folder. So you're going to go ahead and select that. And then over on the left, if we go up to Explorer, we can see our CIT 180 folder, and then we can see the Lesson 2 folder that's inside there. First thing we're going to do is create a new file. So you can press Control and the letter N, or you can go to File and New. And by default, it thinks that we're going to do a text file. So the first thing that we are going to do is save it as an HTML file. That way, all of the formatting and the color codes for HTML will be used. So I've got my open window. Now I'm going to save this as a web page, and I am going to call it Bottom Navigation. I'm going to go ahead and open up my Lesson 2 folder because that's where I'm going to put it. And Bottom Dash Navigation is what I'm going to call it. And where it's got plain text, I'm going to change this to HTML and click on Save. And now it knows that it's got an HTML file. So my next step is to go ahead and enter the code. And so I'm going to start out with doc type HTML. This indicates that it is an HTML5 web document. And HTML is the language that it needs to look for, the web browser is looking for. And ours is in English. Okay, and take note that it did put the ending HTML in there. And then our page is split into two sections. We have a head section that does not actually display on the web page. And then we have a body section, and anything that's in the body actually does display on the page. So in the head section, we're going to add a title, and the title the text for the title goes in the browser tab. So if you go into the browser and you look on the tabs, you'll notice they have text. That text is coming from here. Browsers tab. Very creative here. Oops, and I can see I'm killed part of my tag. So this is something that you guys have to watch out for, okay? Because I see this happening all the time. People get these tags messed up and they end up typing in the middle of them or they delete half of them. Double check and make sure they're there in their entirety because that will mess up your page. And we're just going to tell it the character set that we are using is UTF-8, which is a universal character set. So it's UTF-8. And meta tags do not have any closing tags. So far, this little page, I'm telling it up here that it's HTML5. Then I'm indicating the language I'm using in here is HTML. So the browser is going to know to look for the HTML tags and that it's English. And then I've got the head section defined. This is not going to display on the page. This is kind of information to the browser, but I'm indicating what the browser tab should display and that I'm using that universal character set. Now below the closing head, this is where the body is going to go. Anything you put in the body displays on the page. So I'm going to use a couple of semantic tags here. So I've got header and I have nav. So a header is kind of designed for headings. So things like titles will go in here. And that's exactly what I'm going to put in the header. And for my title, I want it to be a little bigger. So I'm going to use a heading 1 tag. And that will make the text bigger. So heading 1, that is the largest heading size, typically used for titles. And this little heading section, okay, is where you would put your title text. Other things that could go into a heading section, depending on how big your page is, you could put navigation in there. You could put graphics in there. Just depends on what you're displaying at the top. And it can be at the top of the page, or if your page is a series of sections or articles, you could put a heading at the top of each section or each article. Okay, but it is designed to be at the top of something. Okay, and here it actually is giving you kind of a little hint about how that's supposed to be used. Navigation is normally used for links. So that is kind of what we're setting up here. So we're going to be entering text that would be used for links. And for the separator, I am pressing Shift and it's right below my backspace key on the right-hand side. And it's actually, I believe, 2 vertical lines, but it looks like one solid one when I type it here. Okay, so that is my entire page. Okay, and I can go to File and Save to save it, or I can just press Control and S. Now I do want to view this offline, and I think the easiest way to do this is just to go out to Documents. And here's my CIT 180 folder. I'm going to open up Lesson 2. And then the default web browser symbol is next to the name. So if I double click, it's going to open in Chrome because that is my default. And of course, it opened on my other screen. But this is what the page looks like right now. Now, what if I wanted to open this in a different browser? All I do is right click, choose Open With, and then I can pick the other browser. So I could pick Microsoft Edge or Firefox or Opera. Okay, so that's how it looks in Edge. Hey, now, if you do see a problem on your page, now is the time to fix it. So you come back in here. Let's see you found a typo or some other issue. You would fix it, save your changes, and then you could reload the page. Although sometimes in the browser, depending on your settings, uh, you would end up having to just open the page again. So let's say I had titles here. Let me save that. Okay, so here it is. And then I just go back out here and get rid of that, save it again. Okay, so at this point, task 2 is complete and we are going to move on to task 3.